How's it rockin', Dween Nation? You're listening to the Dween Sports Podcast. We're about to get underway. But before you give us a listen, we'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share. We are posting weekly sports content, and we want to build up the brand that is Dween Sports. Thank you all, and enjoy.
Welcome in, Dween Nation. This is your host, Justin Pies, alongside Genoa Agudelo, and we're here to discuss the game of the week in college football, in College Station. We're talking about the Texas Longhorns going against the Texas A&M Aggies. These two teams haven't faced off since 2011, so we're on 13 years. Obviously, the last memory of this football game was Justin Tucker hitting a game-winning field goal. Now we are in a state where now these two teams are both in the SEC. They're both in. A winner goes to the SEC championship game, so there's a lot on the line, and it's already a blood feud. Like these guys, Aggies don't like Longhorns. Longhorns don't like Aggies, unless you're family or sometimes not even. But we are really excited to just kind of dive into this game more and discuss who we think is going to win. But before we do, how you doing, Genoa?
Yo, Dween Nation, College Dween Nation. And yes, Justin, this is the game of the week. In my opinion, the game of the year. I do not care that Auburn upsetted A&M last week. I do not care that UT struggled last week at home against Kentucky. And I do, Justin, this is definitely a top 3 rivalry in college football. Just because of, I've been in both stadiums and the traditions that has been going on for a century with both prospective colleges. And this is both colleges that are pretty good in football, pretty good in, baseball, pretty good in basketball. And so, Justin, this is going to be a heavyweight fight. And you can give it that label there, Justin, because these are two SEC teams. They've kind of been through it all year. They've had some ups. They've had some downs. Both teams have had quarterback changes here and there throughout the year. And both coaches have yet to kind of really give me I'm still have my doubts on both coaches. But you know what, Justin? Nonetheless, these are two fantastic programs, and they're going to go down. I'm so excited to see what ends up happening.
Yeah, man, this game has been on the calendar for over a year now, or honestly for the last 4 years, or whenever Texas was introduced as they were going to move to the SEC from the Big 12. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to discuss in this game. Coaches, players, implications on this game. But let's start on the Texas side, the visitors team. Let's look at their team. Obviously, Quinn Ewers at the helm. Their running back game has been strong despite 2 injured, their top 2 running backs being out, similar to the Aggies. And then, they got a couple transfers in at the wide receiver position. They've been balling, and their defense is amongst the best in the league. What do you think is the keys for Texas to win this game?
Justin, it all comes down to the hands of Quinn Ewers. He has not been all that great on the road there against top teams. And Justin, honestly, all around, not just on the road, I would say he has not been able to really beat, there's been some injuries there on the offensive line. They haven't really performed well from my eye point of view. So to me, Justin, it all comes down to how can Quinn Ewers change the plays at the snap? How can he audible? How can he get, obviously the coaching staff will enter the right personnel, but what can he do to change certain plays? Because Texas A&M plays really tricky on defense. They do blitz a lot as well. And it all comes down to what can, obviously SARK, can he coach aggressive as well in this game? I love me some Sarkisian, but there are at times, Justin, where he can get a little weak, he can get a little stumbled, and he can really flinch at certain different play calls that defenses can offer at the line of scrimmage. So it all comes down to how 100% healthy is Quinn Ewers, how 100% can Sark call a great offensive play for the Aggies to score a ton of points in Kyle Field.
Yeah, man. To me, it's going to come down to is this team ready for the atmosphere that they're about to step into? With Quinn Ewers, I think, and obviously I'm an Aggies guy, so I've seen every single game that they played in, every minute of it. And what they've struggled with this year is playing against running quarterbacks. Quinn Ewers is not one of those guys. So I think there's the advantage there. Obviously, the injury concern with the ankle, it might be up in question. I think Ewers will be fine to play. but I'm curious if Arch gets in at all in this game. And then the wide receiver game with Texas to me has been an impressive piece because they've had 3 guys who have been able to produce at similar levels, and they're very solid high levels. On the Aggie side, the wide receivers, it's kind of been Noah Thomas, but other than that, nothing too hot, nothing too special. On the Texas side, they got Bond, they got Golden, and they got Bolden. Or I'm sorry, they got Gunnar Helm, Bond, and Golden. And so they got 3 pieces that are viable options. And then in the running game, Blue and Wisner have been very solid out of the backfield. I got to see them in the Cotton Bowl, the Red River, showdown. And I thought they were the starters starting at the year, but obviously CJ Baxter out for the year. So they have very good pieces. And then the defense, that honestly, I think that is the X factor for this team because they've been playing, star-like defense, but they haven't played star-like offenses. And I'm not saying the Aggies are that, but I'm interested to see if this is probably one of the best offenses they've faced all year. And then, that's saying a lot because the Aggies offense hasn't been something crazy spectacular. But I think that's going to be the test there. And then let's look at the A&M side, which I'm excited to talk about. Marcel Reed at the helm at quarterback. Obviously, the change from Connor to Marcel was at first we were like, yes, Marcel. Connor returns against Missouri and balls out. And then we're like, okay, it's Connor's time now. But then he struggles, and then Marcel gets to return and now is the guy. I think he's the franchise guy for them. Obviously, he's a redshirt freshman, so he's still a young guy. But he's been playing. He's a dual threat quarterback. That's kind of what you need in college football. To me, that's what's special. And then similar to Texas with this, the top 2 running backs for the Aggies are out. Reuben Owens, Le'Veon Moss. Le'Veon, as of 3 weeks ago, got injured. Reuben's been out all year. Got hurt in camp. Now they rely on Amari Daniels, who unfortunately had a dropped pass to lose the game to Auburn in overtime. I feel like have been getting really mad at him. Obviously, at initial thing, you're like, you got to catch that, which you do got to catch that. But he had a really solid game. His usage was crazy. I believe he had 27 carries on the game. But yeah, so the running back room for them is shaky. I think overall, Noah Thomas is becoming the standout wide receiver for the Aggies. He had 2 touchdowns over 100 yards last week. But the question was the defense. They gave up 43 points to Auburn and lost the game, obviously. It was from that last drive in the 4th quarter to the end of the game after the 4 overtimes. The Aggies defense just fell apart. I don't know if that's on ELKO or the players, but what are your thoughts with how that game transpired for the Aggies last week and how they should set up this week?
Yeah, this loss in Auburn is going to definitely benefit your Aggies there, Justin. I feel like they know that their season is on the line with the trip to the SEC title game, and with their defense there, Justin. I think that they're going to definitely tune it up and have some fixes on their errors, and they're going to be at home in front of that ruckus Kyle Field. I've been there multiple times there with you, and I know how loud it can get. And not to mention, this is a night game. And so they're going to have all day to get the ready. All those Aggies are going to be pregame. They're ready to go. And this is a rivalry game that's been 12 years in the making. Obviously, the last time these 2 teams faced off, we were just kids. And so even as kids, Justin, we knew that this rivalry has always been tense. And it's the Battle of Texas there, Justin. We haven't had a Battle of Texas in so long. And Justin, in the nation, you got to make the argument that we produce some of the best, college football players as well as high school players. And so who doesn't want to have that title, that label as the best team in Texas? Because, Justin, we haven't had that title label for years and years and years. And so looking into this atmosphere, I'm very concerned for UT. I'm very concerned on how they can kind of pick up the blitzes that's going to be thrown by Mike Elko's defense. And to how this defense can beat the Longhorns, I think the Longhorns aren't going to run the ball too much. Quinn Ewers is not a running quarterback unless they throw Arch into there, which is different. But if you're able to blitz, Quinn Ewers every other play and throw some tricks on them, I think that you guys will be successful. The key to this game, Justin, for the Longhorns, is to score more than 20 points. If it's a close game, it's 13-13. I like the Aggies' chances. For the Aggies, Offensively, they're going to need to run the football there. I am a big fan, Justin, of Amari Daniels. He looks like a stud there. And, obviously with Le'Veon Moss not being there, I'm very excited to see what Daniels can do. He is their X factor, I believe, in this game for the Aggies to win. I do think that they're going to need to give him 15 to 20 to 25 carries that whole game because you're going to need to milk the clock as best as possible. You want to limit Quinn Ewers' possessions, right? If you're able to milk the clock, pick up first downs, score some touchdowns, and then on defense, you're able to blitz Quinn Ewers, you're going to have a ton of success there. You have to limit Quinn Ewers' possessions, run the football. I like Daniels in this game.
No, I think that's great. A great thing to point out. I think with what the Aggies defense has struggled with is they were tired. I think they were out of gas last week, going back on the field each overtime, back and forth. And so I think being able for the Aggies to be able to hold the ball on offense, have slow, methodical drives, get a touchdown, but waste, 6-7 minutes, will give good time for the defense to kind of set up. And I agree. I think we were talking about it after the game. That defensive failures, it's got to land on ELKO. I know he's a first-year coach, and I'm going to give him some grace in that sense. But, giving up 43 points to Auburn, going to those 4 overtimes, especially when you came back and took the lead, that should have been yours to – that should have been ours to grab. But overall, I'm really excited for this game. The Aggies, my Aggies, I am very confident this game is for us, for the taking, just because you got Marcel. He said it in his press conference yesterday. We are in the playoffs now. This ain't no regular season. The Aggies have to win 2 games to make the playoff. If they lose one of them, if they lose this week, it's over. So this is what you got to do to make it happen. And then on the flip side with Texas, I'm looking at this bracket. I'm looking at how the college football rankings will shake up if they were to lose. I think if Texas loses, they will be fine. They will make the playoffs just fine. So I'm not saying that they don't have the same hunger that A&M has for this game, but Texas is going to make it regardless. If they win, obviously they're in. If they lose, I think they'll drop to that 7-8 range, but they will be in the playoff. While Texas A&M, all they have to do is win. So just win. But I'm really excited for this game. All media outlets are going there. My boy Josh Pate. We got the On 3 crew. We got College Game Day. I bet SEC Nation is coming. So that's why I'm coming back Friday, because holy smokes, Saturday, the trek up here Saturday is going to be hectic. But we love it. But yes, before we end off on this episode, Genoa, let's do some score predictions for this game. What do you have as the score for this showing at 6:30 Central?
I'm going to go 23-19 Aggies. If Quinn can pour up a show, I think my Longhorns can do it. But if it's been, we're not scoring too many touchdowns, which I think is going to happen, I think this is going to be the final score there. They could run the ball, get a couple rushing touchdowns with Marcel and Daniels. I think that will be the score there. Kyle Field is a ruckus crowd. I think that's going to disrupt UT. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to take the Aggies. I do think the home field advantage is the X factor, the biggest X factor. I don't think any players can really change that. But give me the Aggies 23-19.
23-19. Okay, I'm gonna go with the Aggies as well. Off this ring, they're gonna win 30-28. It's gonna come down to a field goal. It's gonna be very close. I think A&M is going to have some drives where they get close, but then they're going to have to settle for field goals. Where Texas, I think their drives are going to be touchdowns or bust kind of thing. But man, I'm excited for this game. It is, as you mentioned at the top, it's the game of the year. No bias thrown into it, maybe just a little bias, but this is the game of the year. The excitement is wild. This is the only city that College Game Day is coming to twice this season. At the first week 1 of the season, now week 14. Rivalry renewed. I know I could have gone to Texas. I could have gone to Texas A&M. I decided to go to Texas A&M, and that day that I became an Aggie was the day I became a Longhorn hater. No offense to the Longhorns. I got a lot of good friends and family there. But and we will welcome all Longhorns to College Station. And then after the game, we'll all hit up Northgate and, we'll celebrate that you guys lost. But anyway, I'm really excited. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, college football fans. If you want to hear more NFL content, we are here for you because we're going to discuss that for the Week 13 slate of the NFL season. But thank you guys for listening, and Jano, send us out.
Yo, Dewey Nation, this was our Texas and University of Texas A&M matchup. Talk, predictions, thoughts, and this is going to be a great game. This is the game of the year. I don't care what anybody says. The game of the year, the game of the week. Everybody's going to be tuned in. So go ahead and give us a listen, Dewey Nation, if you're not busy Thursday or Friday. And then Saturday, go ahead, 6:30 Central Time. The game of the year there. And so Justin's team versus mine. In college is going to be a good one and a rivalry renewed for years and years to come there. Dewey Nation, we love you guys. Thanks for watching. Happy Thanksgiving. And as always, peace.